Good morning, comrade. You're listening to WHIVLP New Orleans 102.3. This is your weekly Good Morning Comrade, Jeff and Robert, here on the show on a very special day over the weekend. He was taken too soon, gone before he could really see the end of the absolute destruction of Palestinians. I guess he wanted to see the whole genocide play out. But poor Lindsey Graham is just going to have to look up from hell and see it happen that way. So, pack watch. We're smoking that Lindsey Graham pack. How you feeling, Robert?
I feel like our listeners on WHIV are too old, or not even too old. The too old. I'm so sorry, y'all. They're too on. They're not online enough to understand pack watch and crab rave and all that. We are definitely the outliers that we understand smoking on that pack, and we're middle-aged men. But how we got to have a special election to replace the senator from Haifa. Israel lost, a great representative. And who else is gonna, we've got to find somebody to step up to take that position to funnel my tax dollars to Israel. So when I look at my student loan debts in default, and why people in Israel don't have student loan debts, I have to, and healthcare, I have to be like, damn, we got to make sure somebody transfers my labor value to Israel as soon as possible. That line be not broken.
Maybe it'll be Fetterman. Maybe that's the next one. I mean, there's no shortage of like Israel lovers in Congress, so it should be honestly pretty easy to find them.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, he feels 71 feels pretty young nowadays in the year of our Lord 2026, especially with it makes me wonder how he was living. Genetics are genetics. It is what it is. We're still all human beings. But you're a senator with access to government subsidized healthcare, which we don't get to have here in the same country that Israel gets to have, because people like Lindsey Graham again make sure that our money gets funneled over there so they can make that happen for them for reasons, I guess. But it makes you kind of young. He was just gallivanting around Disney World with his bubble wand, living his best life just this year. So I was like, damn, that's kind of not sad, but whatever.
Then they really did catch us leaning, didn't they? They really hitting us with this. Oh, Mitch McConnell hasn't been seen in a month. He's been in the hospital. Nobody's seen him. His wife's going to China, and they're changing the flooring in his house. Obviously he's dead. And then they hit us with the Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hopefully you can hear me okay. My mic did a little Lindsey Graham and fell down. But can we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah.
The Mitch, how crazy, Mitch McConnell, he's obviously dead, and how we don't want to talk about it. It's we're old enough. Talk about it. Not in the mainstream press and whatnot, and it just feels like when we're old enough to remember, the guy, if you're older than, or you're younger than a millennial, you really don't have a reference for this. You didn't live through it. Maybe you can read about it in a book or whatever. But it's we're old enough to remember. It's we made fun of regimes like this that had to keep our pretend our leaders were these paragons of health, or pretend they were alive when they weren't, and all this. And now we're just living in that hypernormality. And I use that word very specific because I just think about, there's that BBC documentary. I'll probably watch it a couple times a year. It's on YouTube for free, called Hypernormalization, and it talks about pretty much the downfall of the West up into pretty close to the ascendancy of Donald Trump, but it starts at the breakdown of the Soviet Union, and it was what really the filmmaker says in
Adam Curtis
is that
when the downfall of the Soviet Union, when it wasn't economics, like if you're going to point at one moment where it was like beyond repair, like it was in a death spiral and there's nothing you can do about it now, when it's crossed the Rubicon, you could say, is that when hyper normalization, it's when the state would say things, like the state media would say things, the state would say things itself. Everybody knows it's fiction, but everybody just chooses to not even discuss the fiction. It's literally the emperor has no clothes. So the Soviet media would say something, everybody knew it was a lie, and then they just pretend that it's not. And that's what we're doing now with the death of Lindsey Graham. We're doing that now in America with the death of Lindsey Graham. It's crazy. It's like you watch CNN, they're like, well, could he be alive? You were the last person to talk to him. He's been in the hospital for. It's like we have video evidence in 4K of them going to his residence, the EMTs wheeling a body out, covered up, not in a hurry at all, no sirens on, no nothing, slowly driving away. And it's like, that's a dead person. So the only reason we're keeping this fiction up is so the Republicans can make sure Thomas Massey doesn't run for special election. Like, at some point, like, it's the emperor has no clothes. At some point, if I'm on CNN, especially like Newsmax, I can understand it. Fox, to a certain degree, I can understand it. Even though Fox still has like decent reporters, but that doesn't get filtered through the machine. But they're just
I'm sorry, man. I can't. I just talked to Mitch McConnell yesterday for 20 minutes, and we talked about the World Cup and how Norway should have won because of the ball hitting the line.
At some point, you just got to be like, okay, I guess this is my last time on Bozo News Network, but are we for real right now with this? Mm-hmm. But nobody wants to do it because everybody that plus the reflecting pools American flag blue, and it's like obviously green, and it's like we're that far gone. Like that's what makes me think that
we're at that level of gaslighting.
Yeah, my wife Erin, she's totally stuck on. She's like, yeah, the United States is over. We're gonna balkanize. We're just gonna have like not a civil war, but we're just slow. Like states are gonna slowly start seceding, and it sounds crazy, but look where we're at. Like we can't even say something that is obviously green is blue. We can't say a man who's obviously dead is dead. Like that's where we are now. And you expect, like, I don't understand why these kids can't read or want to be streamers. It's like, what do you expect them to do when you have adults up here playing fiction, playing games?
Gen Zers are truly like we say it all the time, like millennials and Gen Xers, like we're at least sold a world somewhat credibly.
Yes.
That was feasibly hopeful, right? And it was like the world, like you go to college, the myth was actually like so powerful that so many people got into so much college debt and couldn't get a job after the financial crisis, and then the economy tanked, and now everybody's just up to their ears in debt and underemployed. But like Gen Zers have never experienced that. They've never experienced true hope, or not in any kind of a way that they had. I mean, they basically woke up in the apocalypse. They woke up in the cyberpunk world. They were born in Blade Runner post-apocalyptic like landscape, and what are they supposed to do? They're going to exist in that world, and they're going to laugh about it, and maybe they'll do something to make it better at some point. But like the way that Gen Zers are going to engage with this kind of stuff is going to be like cynical, because there's no positive that they've ever experienced in their life, or there's no hope that they've ever truly had outside of like personal stuff. It's a total atomization.
I would push back on you on that. The only thing, I don't think that people who Gen Zers, Gen Alphas, anybody past our age, anybody that's not anybody that's millennial or younger, or the next year, whatever, what I'm trying to say. But I don't think they're cynical at all. I think they're dealing. I think they have clarity, and the idea that we're the ones who are cynical, still trying to, well, not millennials. We're the first generation that we understand. That's like, oh,
we got rug pulled. We're the ones that got
social
rug pulled.
Exactly. That social contract was broken. Our parents might not. I was just having this conversation. Our parents might have not have known exactly what to do, but they were like, go to college, go to college, go to trade school, get a decent job, and you'll be fine. And, the job I have right now is that I should be, in one generation ago, I should be able to, my wife shouldn't have to work. We should have 2 kids. And I should be able to put them both through college comfortably, own a house, own 2 cars paid off, and go on a vacation every year, a 2-week vacation. And like,
the conservative 1950s ideal of America.
And without two incomes, I could barely make rent. So it's like,
right.
What are we talking about? Like, but these kids, they understand it completely. They have there's no,
you can't BS them.
Yeah, there's no contradiction, or there's nothing to lie to, like, try to tell them in these schools, be like, oh, you got to do this or you got to do that. It's like, for what? Like, that's obviously not going to work. And so you ask a kid what they want to do who's in high school, they're like, either I want to try to play pro sports, or I want to be a streamer, or they're like, I want to buy the right cryptocurrency. And everybody's like, oh, that's ridiculous. Is it though? Is it ridiculous? Because you have to have a moonshot. You have to be like, well, let me see if I can get a lottery ticket so I can break free from, late stage capitalism. Because the way
I want to win like $1 million on a Mr. Beast video. That's my hopes.
That's it. Dreams. That's their hopes and dreams, and they're not wrong. They're 100% correct. It's like, what is the world? What are they supposed to do? Just go into massive amounts of college debt, get that good job, just to have 5 roommates and be broke for the rest of their life? Like, that's. Like, I'm 44 years old, and I've got multiple moonshots that I'm working on right now, hoping one of them hit, because that's the only hope. Like, it's clarity. Like, that's clarity. That's not.
And we even saw that, like, if you remember, like, even during COVID, when they had the GameStop thing and all that other crazy stuff.
Yes.
Remember? That was like when, I mean, it wasn't the first time that it ever happened, but it was like the first time it really kind of broke through to the mainstream, where you're like, oh yeah, us, diamond hands to the moon. We're gonna get GameStop, to the moon. And just like, just to put a specific point on, the rug pull, like I would say even like younger millennials and even some of the Gen Zers, like the older Gen Zers, when I was a school teacher, like everything was STEM, everything was learn to code.
That was just 10 years ago.
That was just 10 years ago. And then bang, AI comes along and, oh yeah, we don't need you coding no more. You're out. Yeah. Everything that you just spent your entire time in school learning how to do is useless now. Get out of here.
Yeah. It's like, no, 100%. And that was 10 years ago. Like, I was trying to, learn to write JavaScript. And then thank God I didn't invest a bunch of time in it, because it's just not needed. Now I sit here at my desk and at home and at work, and I have Claude like writing me programs. And these things are great, but these things should be liberating us from capitalism instead of enslaving it to us. And if you think I think this is something that'll hit our WHIV listeners. Do you think I'm correct? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm crazy? Well, you know what? Capitalism doesn't think I'm crazy, because everything in our economy is moonshot. Everything is gamble. Everything casino. Everything prediction markets. What do you say? Robin Hood. Let's get people invest in their little money that they earn working at their wage case.
Poly market.
Into Robinhood, trying to find the one stock or the one cryptocurrency that's going to take off. Everything DraftKings, everything gamble, because it's all just work your job. It's turned into the like almost drug dealer economy, but with worse economics. And what I mean by that, one of my favorite rappers of all time, Project Pat, he'll tell you a story about, he in Memphis, he says, I got one square legit job in my life, and that job was at Whataburger. I worked at Whataburger for 2 weeks, long enough to get my first paycheck. As soon as they put that paycheck in my hand, I quit immediately, and I went and bought cocaine to turn it into crack to sell it. And it was like that's a smart business decision for him. And it's like, you can't look at that. When you look at that at cold reality, it's like, yeah, that was a smart business decision. And on top of that, he diversified by keeping his like rap dream alive. And he used that crack money to fund his rap career. I was like, anybody else, this person would be on CNBC Business. You know, but it's just like, that economy, we don't want to acknowledge, but it's the same thing. It's like, you know, work your terrible job. You know, maybe you can do some kind of a startup. You can beg for Y Combinator money, get angel invested, and maybe you can make it out of the rat race selling something. It's no different. And anybody who says otherwise is living in a cartoon world. Yeah. And this is the world that we've set up for kids. And it's why people our age do not have children, because when I'm supposed to look a child in the eye and tell them, well, if you just go out there and give it your best, that's a lie. That's a scam we were sold.
You got to help them with their hustle. I'll get them to help you with yours.
Exactly.
You know, I did want to like circle back to the gambling thing too, because it's funny because like I know that there's like people with gambling addiction, and there's problems that come along with it, just like there's problems with a lot of things, and gambling is one of like this is one of those sorts of deals where I don't even necessarily have necessary moral opposition to gambling, but like on a different point than what you're saying, like making I remember when this first started in like the 2010s, maybe no, it was like before 2010, before they killed online poker and before they did all the other stuff. It was Bodog.com. You would be able to bet on run play or pass play for football, and it became one of those sorts of things. You know, they banned it for a number of years and they brought it back. And the problem with that kind of stuff is not only is it crack cocaine, but for sports gambling with your money, just throwing it out the window, but also like it just makes sports so much crappier. It makes sports so much less fun. Like I don't have a problem with somebody going to like a bookie or whatever and like saying, give me $20 on the Jets to cover or whatever. You know what I mean? Maybe not the Jets, but you know what I mean. That's fun. But like having this like unlimited access to gambling in this way and having it be sort of like I like the fact that gambling was kind of scummy back in the day. It wasn't sort of like it was like, oh yeah, you can do that either in like Atlantic City, you can do it in Vegas, or you just got to find a bookie that's not going to get caught by the cops. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. But the issue is like, I vote in every stupid election, and I voted for every reform, every kind of anything that's ever been on the ballot. I just show up to vote. That's the one vote I wish I could get back, because I could not foresee. I was the main person. I could not foresee the demon that would unleash to be able to legalize gambling across the country. And it's not even gambling. I mean, gambling is the driver and the engine that ruins people's lives, but it's late stage capitalism at the end of the day. It's what I'm saying is that
people got to start swinging for the fences.
It's got to start swinging for the fences. So the whole thing becomes, I've got to hit my 30-way parlay, or I'm never gonna get out of student loan debt. Yeah, that's where we're at now. And
because the idea of disposable income is gone now too.
These companies understand that. These casino companies understand that. Donald Trump understands that. That's why he sold his supporters a scam. I want to use another word, but I can't for WHIV. But a cryptocurrency. Like he understands,
and not only that paid the UFC. Not only that paid the UFC fighters at the White House lawn in that crypto.
No, that's crazy. I didn't, but yeah, I found out about that. That's crazy. But it does, and it does. If you care about such thing as sports, which I don't even think you should care about, but it's to say it's entertainment. Like I watch.
It's like religion. It's something that
it's something to do.
Like,
it literally does make it worse because now it brings every outcome into question.
Legitimacy is in question. Yeah, not
every single time.
And it pervades everything. Like the fact that, like, oh yeah, you can watch a WWE pay-per-view match. Like literally, you paid for this wrestling match or whatever.
Yeah.
Not even a real sport. Knock on wood. Like, don't come at me, kayfabe people. But like then you'll have like, oh yeah, DraftKings on the wrestling show. It's like, what the hell?
But yeah, it's awful, and it's where we live, and it's because what's happening here is it's not that going back into the technology / proliferates everything, AI, whatever. It's not that the technology is moving too fast. It's moving at a speed that it's just on a collision course with capitalism, and then also capitalism. It's not only on a collision course with late stage capitalism. It is the engineer of the train is late stage capitalism. So until we have to fix capitalism before, I mean, when I say fix it, I mean destroy it before these technologies, because it should be fine. We should live in a world, and I'm being dead serious about this, to where like you should be able to just pull out your phone and put a sawbuck, $100, $20. I'm not comfortable making a sports bet more than $30-$40 when I do, and I haven't put one down in years. Like DraftKings has not been on my phone in years. I live probably 10 blocks from Caesars. I haven't been at sports book in forever, but it's like I should be able to put a 20 on the game to make it a little bit more exciting. And that should be the world we live in, and we shouldn't have to worry about, oh, is this guy who thinks that he's not going to be able to make the, he plays for whatever team, he plays for the New Orleans Saints, and he's like, hey, my buddy needs a hookup because his kids don't have health insurance, so I'm going to tell him to bet the under on me for rushing yards because I'm going to pull up in the fourth quarter. Like, it's that's so dystopian. Like, that is dystopian cyberpunk snow crash type stuff.
And again, like you were saying earlier about the gaslighting that happens between like the people in power. There was a leaked text message or like Twitter message that went from I think it was Donald Trump Jr. to Daniel Cormier, one of the commentators,
Louisiana native, and also a bum. Louisiana native and a scary bum now, being like, yeah, but go tell the story. I'm sorry. No, so there was somebody, I think it was Cormier himself actually, that leaked that it was Donald Trump Jr. was asking him like, hey, what do you know about this fight? Who's going to win? Is anybody injured? Et cetera, et cetera. And like Daniel Cormier replies, is like, what are you talking about? I don't want to, like, he was actually seemingly like keeping up the kayfabe at the very least, or being like legitimately baffled by the fact that like Donald Trump Jr. would say, be asking for insider information so he can gamble, and he didn't hide the fact that he wanted this insider information for gambling. Yeah. And Cormier like leaked this text message out, and like deleted it, and then denied it that it ever happened because somebody from the White House or It's like, bro, you're not dealing even. I'm being 100% serious here. You're not dealing with Netanyahu. Like, no. You're not dealing with the 3,200 unit out of Israel or Mossad. Like, you're talking about Donald Trump and his allegedly cocaine addicted family. Like, they don't have hitters like that. Well, I mean, the worst thing that's going to happen to you, you're going to like you think like even a MAGA guy is not going to like pull up on you. They're just not built like that. They're not
Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier will destroy them.
Well, I'm not even talking about in a fight. I'm talking about in a Charlie Kirk type situation. Like, let's be for real. The kind of guy who's watching UFC, who's really invested in the UFC at the White House, watching that and knows who Daniel Cormier is and is MAGA, that's a petite bourgeoisie. That's a guy who owns like a plumbing company. Like that's a small business tyrant. He's not trying to go to prison for the rest of his life. Like what are you afraid of with Donald Trump? Like you afraid that the Donald Trump kids they don't have motion like that. They just don't. They don't have hitters. They don't have shooters.
They're a joke.
They're not coming after you. What do you think's going to happen? That whatchamacallits, the UFC is going to be mad at you. Okay.
Yeah.
The media cycle moves way too fast. Think about the things that Joe Rogan's just a commentator like you are. The things that Joe Rogan has said about Donald Trump and taken back and da. It's like they go back and forth, wherever the wind blows. It's like that Daniel Cormier thing made me mad. I'm like, you was a sucker, bro. He posted that. He's like, oh, I didn't, man. You was a sucker.
Wow. Oh, the hater, and he tried to do like the haters are coming for me thing. Like he tried to do the it was direct like BS gaslighting. It was crazy. It was one of those things where I don't know.
They can't pull off a fireworks show.
Yeah.
And they can't, and you afraid of them? Like that's the one thing. Like, man, that's another thing. Like in my little circles, we talk about all the time. It's like either the CIA is falling off so hard, and it's like the sign of the dying empire, or like we never had motion like that, and we just all kind of got suckered into like, oh, the American government will get you. It's like, will they though? I don't know, but like, I think it's more of the sign of a dying empire that like. People can just. Obama used to drone strike American citizens in other countries. We don't even do that anymore. Like we don't have it like that. We just don't. Now we're like,
we got that dog in them.
Yeah, we got limited. Interceptor reserves, and we're starting back up the war in Iran, and we don't.
We give all of our weapons to Israel, and they do all the dirty work.
Exactly. Now Mossad. Unit 3200 or whatever, that's real. Like they'll come on American soil and get you. Like that's not a joke. Like they've been bragging about that since the end of World War II, since the 50s. Be like, if you're an enemy of Israel, we will come find you wherever you are.
They whacked one of their own prime ministers.
Yes, absolutely. Which is funny because I used to think this is how. Man, how as a kid learning history about like Munich and stuff like, and like them going to kill Nazis like in South America, I was like, man, that's pretty hardcore. Like they really mean never again. Like I'm like, cool, kill them, whatever, man. But that's some brainwashing. I had to, because now I sit there and I think about this stuff, or I'll see something. I'm like, I'll see something about Munich, and I'll see something about like, oh, the Mossad, went to Argentina and like killed a Nazi. I'm like. I don't think it should be able to do that. Like that seems crazy. That seems like by the world community, whatever you want to call it, like the international community, just allowing and just turning a blind eye to that kind of stuff. I'm like, you kind of open up the gates of hell. Like you can't. Maybe government shouldn't be like just doing extrajudicial killings all over the world in sovereign countries. Like, that's bad because when you let them get away with that, now you've got stuff like Ro Khanna. Rokhana's in Palestine, in the West Bank, getting arrested by the IDF, and then by getting assaulted by insane, illegal West Bank settlers, and then the IDF shows up. They take the settlers' side, and it's like they will kill an American. Like it has nothing to do with even Ro Khanna.
Not just an American, a congressman.
Yeah, Congress. They don't care. It's Jim Jones over there. They do not care. Like it has, because you can be like, oh, well, of course they're going to do Ro Khanna like that because he's not white. Nah, bro, it doesn't matter. Why? Like,
there was that report by Jasper Nathaniel. He talked about this. He wrote about this on his Instagram. I know he wrote about it probably on his Substack, and he talked about it on the Majority Report of a time where he was out like at the settlements, and I don't know, he did something to tick him off, and they just started coming for him, like descending on him from like The Walking Dead. You remember that? Did you see that?
I do. I remember them yelling at whatever, Israel's favorite Fox reporter because he got too close to He got too close to an Iranian impact area. Yeah, they were like, whoa, like they were about to, and he was like, whoa. It's like, aren't I? He's like, no, they will turn on you in a heartbeat. Like it really is Zionist supremacy over there. Like they think that the Zionists think that America is in service. Its only objective is our only purpose is to be in service to Israel, which is crazy. Like. And we just let it happen. That's how soft and weak we are. And again, that's going back to if we're talking about Israel, altogether. I know we flip flop on a bunch of topics, but it's like we have trained this monster how to act. We should never, it's like the Godfather when Michael was getting ready to go kill Salazzo and that cop. Mm-hmm. And not Barzani, I can't think of his name. He goes, when Hitler took Munich or whatever, should have never let him get away with that. And it was the same thing with the Egyptian Israel war when Egypt told Henry Kissinger, like, we will nuke people. We have nukes and we will let them fly if you don't rearm us right now. And he told Nixon, anything could happen. I can't tell you what these guys would do or not do. And we bent the knee. As soon as we did that, as soon as we showed them one time that they could just threaten the world, and now they just do whatever they want to do. And we're the colonized. We just are. And it's terrifying because, again, if you've listened to this program, I've said it, like, there's a bunch of super racist anti-Semites who are just going, see, I told you. Oh yeah, I told you. And their voices get louder because what else are people supposed to think?
Mm-hmm. Just to kind of like move the conversation a little bit forward, and I'm not like the Graham Platner thing happened this week, and he got like obviously charged with rape, and was asked to, basically he said he was going to step down from the race for Senate. And I do think that just thinking about that and how that's Maine, which is Tucker Carlson backyard, when he's already doing like Platner was doing the anti-Israel lane as his policy, and I'm not defending him as a person or whatever, and anything that he said is not necessarily credible because he lied so much, but he was definitely holding down the anti-Israel lane, and that's what Tucker Carlson's doing. And I really do kind of see an opportunity for him, if you're evil, and somebody like Tucker Carlson to find a way to slide in because of what you described is this just incredible zealous pro-Israel business. And you had this guy who he won the primary by 70% just a couple of months ago, and now those people are all mad because they're going to have this sense about them that the establishment took this guy out. And it's, if you're not watching it all the time, it's kind of difficult to make the argument that they're not, because they definitely are coming for him, and they're trying to put that same stank on people who are absolutely not in that same, they're trying to say that, trying to put Abdul Al-Sayed in Michigan is also just terrible with women, and just trying to put, trying to take the platform that Platner was running on and just saying, well, I guess every dude who believes that you should have health care is terrible with women, and every person that's critical of Israel is secretly a rapist or something. And I think that one of the things that people who are, I think to some degree, rightfully sort of saying we should have watched these red flags and all this other stuff, are kind of missing in that whole thing is that, there's also you can have your moment, you can say you're right, but also you need to make sure that you're recognizing that the establishment is going to try and use that, and even the right wing, even Fox News, who supports Trump and who supported Kavanaugh and stuff, other literal rapists, or just trying to be you see how much the left loves to defend sexual abusers. I love it when the right gets woke, and I think that boom, cast him to the to blast him into outer space, shoot him into the sun, whatever it is, get rid of him. But like, we need to stay focused on the project.
And I want to be like before, because that is something I think we should talk about as leftists. I talked about a lot in our sister show online, This Space, is that everything you're saying about Graham Platner is correct, but here's the thing. Did you watch? Have you been watching the World Cup at all?
Yeah.
All right. So here's my bro, theory, not theory, but just like analysis on Graham Platner, sports bro. So we're talking about sports. So the Egypt, Argentine. I just said Argentine. What is this? The Vita, Argentina game. Okay, so they had a complete collapse at the 75th minute. They were up by 2 goals and ended up losing by 1. Now, here's the thing: the Egyptian coach, God bless him, they're saying, he's saying, oh, FIFA is trying to, they're rigging games for Argentina. They're making all these fake calls. They're doing this. They're doing that. It's complete. There needs to be an investigation over this, an investigation over that. Okay, that's fine. If you want to sit here and tell me with evidence or without evidence, you could have a binder full of evidence about how what you're saying is true. They want to rig the game for Argentina. They want to rig the whole World Cup for Argentina. This would be they want Argentine World Cup victory to be the capstone on Messi's career. Fantastic. Okay, that's all. Yeah, second one. That's all true. 100% true. But if you know all that, then why take the field? Because you have 2 choices. It's either we're not going to take the field because FIFA's corrupt, but if this is the game we've chosen to play, then you better be playing to win and you better be playing for keeps. As much as they cheated, angle shoot, called back, fake calls, whatever, the referees did not take 3 soccer balls, take them to your goal, and place them in and call them goals. Y'all let them in the net. So with that being said, how it relates to Graham Platner is, everything is true. AIPAC's out to get this guy. Israel's out to get this guy. Conservatives are out to get this guy. The Democratic Party's out to get this guy. All that. You still did what you did. And you wasted everybody's time knowing you had that in your closet, knowing that could be used against you. And now this is the repercussions. If you want to be mad at anybody in this situation, the only person to be mad at is Graham Platner. Stop trying to work the rest. You already know they're against you. So why did you let this happen? Why did his team, who either didn't know about it because they didn't want to vet him, or they knew about it and they said, well, we'll just do it anyway. The thing is, and Graham Platner's a scam and a joke. I'm not even talking about the red flags or the red flags. I have voted for, let's be 100% real. I have voted for worse people in my lifetime. I have voted for literal war criminals for president, right? Because that's what the vote no matter who, the lesser of no 2 evils, the election's going to happen, all that. So even I would have no problem with these allegations coming out against Graham Platner. If I lived in Maine, I would still vote for Graham Platner to this day. The problem with Graham Platner is he's sitting here playing in everybody's face. And what I mean by that is, what was that 11-minute speech about? You telling me, brother, you're telling me
tearful farewell after being credibly accused of rape.
You're telling me you didn't rape anybody, but you're still dropping out because the powers that be have control over you. I'm like, first of all,
you're just admitting they won then, if that's the case, by the way.
Exactly. I said, first of all, though, if it was me, if it was Robert Johnson, I was running for something, and they had and the powers that be set me up and said, oh, there was a woman that came out and said that I raped somebody.
With credible evidence, by the way.
And I'm telling you, I did not do this. My video would be, okay, look, I don't care about the election anymore. My main goal here now is to make sure that my wife and I can still hold our heads high and walk around Maine that people know I didn't do this. So I'm still on the ballot because I didn't do this. Please come vote for me. If nobody votes for me, that's fine. But from here until the day I die, now this is about clearing my name. We got to find out. We got to find out who this woman is. We got to find out what's going on, because I can't live like this as a man. No, I didn't do this. But you cannot come out here and say, oh, I didn't do this, and yet I'm still dropping out. Those two things don't make any sense. You know, it's like OJ was, I know it's cynical, but like OJ Simpson made more sense than this. At least he said, well, you know, if I did it, this is how I would have done it. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, oh, OJ was like, oh, we're going to find the real killers. Like,
yeah,
bro,
we're still trying to find a guy who did this.
Yeah, you're saying you didn't do it, but yet you're still gonna drop out. So you're playing in my face right now. You're making me the voter, the main electorate, look like a fool for backing you or supporting you. I have all issues, and everybody that says, you know, about Graham Platner, the things that they were 100% right, and to do so to bring that stuff up. But now here we are, and the only person that I'm not going to blame the people, the forces that are against him. I'm not going to blame some smarmy leftist who's doing I told you so. There's only one person to blame here, and it's Graham Platner for doing this. Do you want to feel bad for somebody? You feel bad for first the woman that has the credible allegations of rape over anything else, and then secondly, you feel bad for the voters of Maine who went to bat for this dude. And now they're in the stuff. I got Ryan Graham. I love Ryan Graham to death. Ryan Graham is sitting up here on Breaking Points talking about, oh, they're gonna, the Democratic Party is gonna use this to get a corporate Democrat in who's a centrist, corporate centrist Democrat who's gonna be soft on AIPAC and soft on Israel. Okay, well, you know what? Maybe don't put a guy who's got credible allegations of rape. And then refuses to fight them. America loves a story like this. America loves a guy who's a fighter, a guy who's like a redemption story. So if you didn't do this would be the easiest race to keep running and win. He can even run denial at this point and just keep going.
But he can't anymore. He can't no more.
Yeah, he can't do that. And I'm like, no, this guy is a complete scumbag who screwed over the electorate of Maine, and there's nobody to blame but him, and it makes me sick. Like, I think it should just I don't say the conversation should end there. We have to figure out but like I don't want to see. I'm already seeing like, well, the political story has holes in it. It doesn't make, these things don't make sense. This woman this and this woman that. Well, you know who should be leading the charge on that? If that's the case, not Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks. It should be Graham effing Platner.
Right.
So get out of here with this. Nobody needs to be out here defending Graham Platner or running a soft defense for him even.
Yeah. Well, I did want to, I don't disagree with anything you just said. I do want to just sort of like circle it back and just sort of like talk about the continued like splash damage. I alluded to this earlier, that again, like he was credibly accused of this. And also, like, again, like this is something that we can blame establishment people for, which is using essentially what Graham Platner did while running on the progressive anti-Israel. He ran a straight up F Israel campaign, which is great. And he was running a Medicare for All campaign, which is also great. And now you got Neera Tanden essentially trying to put, like I think I might have said this before, that sexual assaulters stink on people who are absolutely not sexual assaulters, but trying to do a guilt by association on people like Abdul Al-Sayed in Michigan, which is just like that's just a part of the mess that we need to clean up because of this guy, it's just like one of these things where people can have their moments where we talk constantly. It should be an ongoing project all the time to talk about we need to make our society and the places that we organize better for everybody, less sexual assault in any kind of space, please, political spaces or anything. But also at the same time, we can't be eating each other, and we can't be talking about I question Emma Vigeland from the Majority Report because she didn't notice the red flags or something like that. You know what I mean? It's one of those sorts of things.
And I see what you're saying. It's just about having honest conversation.
We got to line back up. We got to line back up because we still want to fight.
Line back up, but also you have to have honest conversations that, you have to not be afraid of getting your fifis hurt, because there's no light without heat. And just to give you, like, I had to shut down, on our little sister podcast, one of the people I was on a panel with. And I don't have any feelings like this person's a bad person, whatever. But it just, what he said was that, I wish this woman would have come out with this, a long time ago and saved us all a long amount of trouble. And I said, no, shut that down right now.
I mean, first off, she didn't.
Who could have saved us a lot of trouble? Graham Platner.
Platner.
Stop looking for other people to blame, except for the person who, use my soccer analogy, who kicked the ball into their own goal. Like, there's no other blame to go around here. I don't want to stop trying to be like, well, this and that, and should stop trying to work the refs. There's one person, Graham Platner, knew about this going in. Either his team knew or they didn't know and they didn't vet him enough, and he decided to waste everybody's time. He decided to try to win by any means necessary just because he wanted to be a state senator. He thought he could run for something and win. And he was right. He could have, if he would have told the truth in the beginning of all this, and either got this out in the open so he couldn't be attacked with it, or not run at all. This is all on him. So unless we have these conversations that you and I are having right now, this type of thing will still keep happening over and over again, because the thing that he's right about, and it's cynically right about in his speech, he's like, yeah, all these forces are lined up against you. Yeah, they are. They are completely lined up against you, and they're coming for you. So if you want to dance in this dance, you knew that was going to happen, and you didn't prepare for it. I'm sorry. Like, you can't, there's nobody else to blame here. So it's like, was it the wrong?
Also,
thank God this guy, real quick, but thank God this guy, the thing that if you really want to, like, a unifying thing between the left and get us all back in the line, this guy wasn't one of us. He ran from the idea of being called a socialist. He ran from the idea of being called a communist. He ran, not DSA endorsed. He ran from all these labels that our show is called Good Morning Comrade. I'm not afraid to be called a socialist. This is 2026. This is not 1946. I'm not afraid of that. He's still afraid of that. Thank God he's not one of us. We were disconnected from the start.
Easier to catch him out.
The amount of trash I've talked on this show on AOC, but then her instincts were 100% right on this, to stay away from that dude. They were 100% correct, and she deserves her flowers on this. So that's the thing we should be crying. He is not one of us. He never was one of us. This isn't a no true Scotsman thing. This is a thing of, well, he has your same policies. Yes, because our policies are good. Israel's not a good country. It's a genocidal ethno state, but they also have free health. They also have Medicare for all and government paid for college. These are just good policies. And you don't have to be a good person.
I do want to be.
Go ahead.
I do want to be like, I want to agree with you and say that, like, yeah, people who were like right about this, like, I'm not trying to say like, oh, like I'm mad at them or anything like that. I'm saying you can have your moment, but we need to get back in line. We need to line back up, and we need to keep rolling. Like Chris Rabb, they had a comment that he made after he was elected, or like right before Platner had the primary or whatever, where he was just like, I don't know about this Platner guy. He said some stuff that was absolutely true. That, like, if it was him that had like the kind of allegations that had been against Platner at the same time, he would not, Rabb himself, who's a black man, would not have been able to get away with it, which is absolutely true. I think that I mean, it's something that's true, but also I don't think it's like necessarily always helpful to point that out. But regardless, he was right to just sort of stay out of it and be critical of Platner. But like, again, I do 100% agree with that sentiment that, like, Rabb couldn't get away with that. Zoran, if he wasn't a Boy Scout, couldn't get away with that. If Abdul Al-Sayed, if he wasn't a Boy Scout, couldn't get away with it. I just, like, when it comes to that kind of stuff, one of the things that kind of makes me crazy is the assumption is that, like, people that are benefiting from these things, which they absolutely shouldn't, like, they didn't create the structures either. They just ride the structures. You know what I'm saying?
I do. my and it's not devil's advocate, but it's not even a pushback. It's just a small tweak, I would say, is that a lot of the people we're talking about, like an FD signifier. Okay, we're getting very outline here, but let's just say the black people of color leftists, right?
People are talking about white leftists right now,
right? And if you want to sit here as a person of color and say I don't trust white men, and I'm like, all right, cool. If you want to sit here as a femme presenting person or a woman and say I don't trust men at all, I'd be like, cool. That's that. I'm like, I don't feel any kind of way about that, and I completely understand.
I personally,
and it's not even your job to try to like bring these people, into line, in the fold. It's my job as like a cishet guy, straight man, to police this nonsense. But here's the thing that was saying all that, and I 100% agree. The people on our quote unquote team, leftists, who live in New Orleans, Louisiana, or Austin, Texas, or New York City, New York, or I don't know, some Seattle, Washington. They need to understand that America is a huge geographical country with many different cultures, and leftism, leftist policies in the face of is going to look very different from Portland, Oregon to Portland, Maine. And some stuff you're just going to have to, like, if it doesn't hit your red lines of just like, no, you can't, obviously you can't be racist, sexist, homophobic, that kind of stuff. You're just going to have to like understand that people in Portland, Maine are just going to live differently than you. And that's it. But as long as we have the same core policies, we're fine. I just don't like this idea of just like, oh, this is an all man. No, this is a problem with all men, or this is a problem with men on the left, or some foolishness like that. I'm like, no, this is a problem with Graham Platner, and this is a problem with like the men on the left need to be policing our own. So understand, what I'm trying to say is, if a guy's a perfect candidate who's going to win the Senate race in Maine, is not going to be racist, sexist, homophobic. He's not going to have a totem cough tattoo. He's not going to have credible accusations of sexual assault, but he's going to be crunchy. Like, he's going to be like an oyster farmer. He's going to own firearms. Like, he's going to drive.
He might be a vet.
Yeah, he might be a vet. Like, you're just going to have to be okay with that. It's like, it's just going to look different. Like, even in our like socialism, like, if we get to what we want here in America, is going to look different than whatever's in your head. It's not going to be gay space communism as much as like I would love that. It's going to be freedom share. You understand? It's still going to be corn dogs and hot dogs. Like,
I do want to push on the vet thing too. Like when like a lot of people, when they saw that this had come out, like they would just basically say like, oh wow, we're drawing the line at rape but not at baby murdering or something like that. And it's just like what are you doing? What are
you're falling into the same right-wing trap that was laid for our parents after Vietnam.
Yeah
You're falling into the same trap to where it's like, yeah, you're gonna have the American war machine has abused these people, and then they're gonna come home from these things and be like, I want to do something with my life, and be like, oh no, we don't want you. Okay, well I guess I'll just go be right wing then. Yeah, my problem with Graham Platner, and I try to like get my own biases out of it as somebody who's like also a Marine Corps veteran.
I appreciate your perspective on all this stuff.
But I would like to think, even if I could separate myself from being a Marine Corps veteran, like my problem with Graham Platner was not the Marine Corps, obviously, because like somebody said, like, why would somebody do that? I'm like, I don't know. You're an 18-year-old man with no prospects, besides living and dying in your hometown penniless. Being a contract killer for the state sounds pretty good. Like. It sounds like a pretty good deal.
Familiar.
Yeah. And it's like,
it feels like a promotion.
Exactly. But my problem with Graham Platner was, again, why his story never made any sense from the beginning. You're telling me how horrible the Afghanistan war was, and all these horrors that you went through, and you thought it was so bad that you decided to become a mercenary when you got out. That makes no sense. Like, you were playing in our face the whole time. Now, that was my whole thing. But yeah, you're 100% right. Anybody who's just like, you don't have to associate. Like these, there's a whole thing of just like, oh God, what's it called? About Face, which is like
Mm-hmm.
anti-war vets. I'm not saying like if you're a crunchy granola peacenik and you don't want to like associate with that, like you don't have to, but then understand like these people want the same things you want, and don't fall into the same trap that our parents fell into with these vets returning from the Vietnam War that said so the government was able to use anti veteran
Poverty
sentiment.
draft.
And no. What I'm saying is the right-wing establishment here in America was able to use anti-veteran sentiment to bang the drums of war. Support the troops. You got to support the troops for like 2 generations now. And we're finally just starting to break free of that. They were able to use that as a cudgel to slam the left over the head with. And you've got all these vets who had nowhere to go. So they just they became your Fox News boomer parents and grandma. So it's like, is that what you want? You want another generation like that? I say no. Like you have to bring these people in who are not scumbags into your tent.
Right.
Like you have to.
Yeah.
Or lose the movie.
And
or just don't even take the field.
and kind of most critically in that too, because I mean we do live in the heart of empire. We live in the United States of America, and like if we're trying to build a political like movement, you can have critiques of the American war machine, and you can have critiques of the policy, the poverty draft that exists there, and you can have critiques of even like individuals in the military if their conduct is public and you know what it is. A lot of people were like making assumptions about what he had done there, but like what you can't do is be annoying. What you can't do is be weird. What you can't do is when a normal person looks at what you're doing, they're like, that person's a freak. I'm never going to support the political project that they're associated with. Because what you're going to do is not only are you going to make yourself look like a weirdo, you're going to make everybody that supports Medicare for all, or everybody that supports or that is critical of Israel or critical of war in general, they're going to think about you. They're going to think about you and they're going to be like, nah, whatever. All that stuff's not for me.
That's it. That's 100%. I would say like, go. I don't know if this is too high. If you're a person our age or younger listening to this, and it's too heavy for you to like, you're not quite getting it. Go watch Rambo. Like that's exactly what the movie's about. Like you take a guy who's just like PTSD'd out. His friend died of Agent Orange. And then he's like, he walks through a town, just like he's drifting through an Oregon town, and he gets assaulted and accosted by the police because they don't want somebody wearing that flag who's wearing that jacket in their town. And then he goes on a one-man rampage and ends up going back to Vietnam and doing the bidding of the United States government. To where if he was just like, hey, man, I know you've been through some stuff. Let's talk about it. Let's unpack it. And like, hey, you want to do something positive with your life instead of like being a war machine? You know, that doesn't sell movie tickets, but that's what the movie's about. Like,
yeah, you slam that door.
Angry.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. This has been your weekly Good Morning Comrade. Jeff and Robert here to tell you what is up every single week. We got some exciting guests coming up. I got some really cool stuff in the works. And I'm working on getting some clips out there. So check all our stuff out on all of our platforms. And thank you so much for listening. We love you. Bye-bye.